Josh Green here for Tungsten Tales. Delighted to be joined by TalkSport's own. Are we allowed to say that now? Scott Mitchell. You had a strange World Championships, really. Didn't go quite so well for you on the stage, but we saw you in the final few days on TalkSport. Nice of you to make an appearance.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, my New Year's resolution, and I'd made all my wishes and everything that I wanted to get back to Ali Pali as quick as possible. I wasn't expecting it to be the 1st of January. So, got the call saying that it was looking like a possibility, and then got the final call the night before. So while everybody's out was where everybody was New Year's reveling, and I was tucked up in bed at 10 o'clock because I had an early morning to get up to the Ali Pali. So a quicker return than I expected. Yeah,
definitely. We will quickly touch on the World Championship, not the result you would have wanted against Chris Landman, but an experience on the Ali Pali stage that I'm sure you'll be looking to take into this year and hopefully the next few years.
Yeah, just huge disappointment, really. I think that you look at the averages I've been doing over the 30 Pro Tours, and I can't really put my finger where it went wrong. I just think it was just one of those days, really. It was, I don't do it often, and when I do it, I do it properly. So, and that's the way it is. It's just, the things that were going through my head at the time were, really should have been going through my head, and maybe I should have been looking up my stats from the year before I went and played the night before. Maybe I just don't know. I don't know what you can do. I think you can overanalyze sometimes and stop yourself playing the next time. So I will tell you, it really did hurt. And I couldn't face watching. I didn't watch any games after that for about 4 or 5 days. Couldn't bear to watch. It was one of the defeats that hurt me the most in the whole of my darting career, I think. I'd lost at Lakeside a few times, and I remember Martin Adams doing me in 21 or 22 minutes, 3-0 in game 1 at 12 o'clock on the Saturday, and I was the first man going home, so it even hurt more than that. So it is just one of those things, and like today, the reason I'm wearing the shirt, the first time I hadn't picked my darts up, and I got to be straight honest with you, till about Wednesday of this last week gone. So it really did hurt. I never touched him for a month, and I picked him up, and a good buddy, Ben Hazel, who's up at Q School this week, he said, "Come on, mate, you've got to get out of it. Let's do some stuff online together." And we do a FaceTime call, and we just point the cameras up at the board and chat. And so did a couple of hours on Wednesday and a couple of hours on Thursday, and sort of kind of found my love for it again. But I think I've got to thank TalkSport as well, because I really was apprehensive about going back, even for TalkSport. I just did not like the place at all. So, to go back for TalkSport and see somebody else enjoying it and somebody else doing it, and go back for a different reason to talk about it was very different. So, to be stuck in the commentary box and then take it in the atmosphere, which you try to as a player, but you try to block it out. But as a commentator, you have to take it all in. So, I really found the love of the place that 3 days, so I'm looking forward to get back there as quick as I can.
Does having that few days with TalkSport give you a few happy memories that you can sort of leave from the year with Alexandra Palace? And obviously, when you're in there, it's a very completely different feel as you would have had as a player. You may have tunnel vision as a player when you're in the Ali Palace. What do you notice when you're working in a different capacity?
You just notice things and how players are reacting to the crowd. You notice how, I'll never forget the final when Michael Smith walked out, and he was right in front of our comment. He just walked up and leaned on a barrier and just put his arm on the barrier and just leaned on it. And you just think, it was like an old farmer on a country gate. He was so relaxed with that final. It was telling me that he just felt it was his time, and for him to then, he looked so settled, and then to see that second leg of the first set, the guys missed more doubles each than I did in the whole of my game, and obviously I got trolled on social media big time for that. So, and I think it made every player in the world watching that game think, they're human.
100%. In terms of, I have to ask you about Michael Smith. We've seen him for almost a decade now lose out in major finals. The talent is obviously there. He's in the top 2 or 3 for talent, you'd probably have to say. Do you believe that the title is just around the corner?
Yeah, I do. I think, dart players, I believe, are in their prime, in their mid-40s. I do. That's when I won mine at 44 years old. So, he's got, if he's got a long time yet. He's just to put it in context of my career. I didn't start playing county till I was like his age now. I was 29 and didn't get the hang of it till I was Michael's age. So, I think he's got plenty of time. There is no rush, and I think if you talk to Michael, he's feeling the same. Obviously, that hurt. That must have hurt. I wasn't the one that came out of Ali Palace most hurt this year. I think probably Michael did after that final, being 5-4 up and then 2 sets up. I think we all thought it was curtains for Peter, and what a magic sort of run of 10 or 12 legs or whatever he did to get that was just never been seen before like that. So without Mr. Taylor's arm being involved. So I think that Michael will think that Peter went and won it and that he didn't lose it. I think that's what he needs to realise if he's going to go on and become a champion and be a major winner. He's got to look back at that game and go, do you know what? I've got to tip my cap to Peter there.
Yeah, 100%. We will quickly touch on Q School as we speak. There's hundreds of players in Milton Keynes where you've been before. You know what it feels like to be in that room with hundreds of people all vying for the same goal. What sort of emotions are they going through right now?
Well, it's kind of weird, really. It's the apprehension before you go and play, and the guys that are in the early bit as well. They're just trying to get qualified for the second bit. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be in the second bit, but I played guys that have been in the early bit, early doors. So, and they were on it. They were already on it. So I don't know how much being, having to buy through to the second part is it an advantage? Is it not? The guys are all playing. So, I was unfortunate. I drew Fallon first game, and obviously that was a difficult one where cameras were coming up behind the board. Fallon to go 3-2 up, the cameras would come belting over, and then I go 3-3, and the cameras would disappear, and there's just so much of a profile on it. Everybody's watching Darts Connect today that's involved with darts. Everybody's watching the World Final at home on TV. Has all probably got Darts Connect, and they're trying to cover. We had a county game yesterday for Dorset, and we were away at Berkshire, and like our 4 Dorset players were being followed by the whole room, to what's going on. There's that much interest in it. So you're there actually playing a county game, and everybody's phones are on. One's on Carl's game, one's on Paul Carter's game, one's on Tommy Morris's game, and one was on Ricky King's game. So everybody was like feeding the news of it. There's just so much interest in it. But to play it as a player, you've got to not be disheartened when it doesn't go right, because as I found, you only needed to go right on one day. So don't be disheartened when it doesn't work. I mean, I lost to Fallon first round, and then I lost to Jack Main. Yeah. Jack Main did like 117 average or something. It was 110 plus, and I'd done 102, and I wasn't even near him. And that was my first 2 days last year, and then that's when you're phoning home, and you need good people at home. You then need good people at home, and the people around you then can influence on how the rest of your Q School week goes. So you've got to have good backup. There's no 2 ways about it. It's not always just about what you do, because when it kind of goes wrong for you, you need that convincing that you should be there, and it is going to be your year, and as we found with me, it was last chance corral on the last day.
Well, there's many ways of doing it, and that is one of the ways. I mean, when you look at what you've achieved since you got on the PDC tour, you said the Pro Tours have been very good at times. There's been some excellent averages on there. I'm sure getting on TV would probably be a goal of yours. What are the targets for 2022?
Well, I've got to be honest, the targets for 21 were to try and make the Players' Championship if I could, and try and make Ali Palace, which I did both, and obviously we had the UK Open early in the year. But I wanted to run the year and average sort of 90, and I knew I was going to have to average 90, 91. And as it's happened last year, I think I averaged 93 and a bit for the whole 30 Pro Tour. So I'm going to have to repeat that again to progress on and hold my card at the end of the year, because that's the goal. So to be able to hold my card at the end of the year, I feel that I'm probably going to have to qualify for Ali Pali again. Yeah. And that probably won't be through the rankings. I don't see there's any way of jumping up within the top 32 unless I start really pulling up trees and setting fires to bushes, which has never been my way. No. My way is always the slow and steady. It's the way I play. I play the long game and the long haul, so it will be that way. So I'll be looking to try and be averaging sort of 93s and 94s over the Pro Tours. And but every time, as we know with Q School, every time, you know, the guys that probably we were beating last year are now gone, and there's going to be new guys with fresh impetus and fresh minds. And as I was one of those last year, and come in and they'll be trying to set the place alight. So that would be my goal, really, is to make sure that my game doesn't dip off and just continue to enjoy it. You know, I was fortunate. I'm not a big name in darts, but I'm a name, and the big names know who I am. So it was a little bit different for me when I came in. You know, people knew that I probably had the capabilities of doing it. I'd had the experience under my belt, and probably Suits, Barney, and myself were probably, maybe Jason Heaver, were the ones that came through Q School last year and then hit the ground running when we played in the Pro Tour. So, and you can look out whoever comes through Q School, you're going to find another 3 or 4 that do that immediately.
Yeah, you can. You mentioned the World Championship there. It's got to be a goal for anybody that's on the Pro Tour to be at the World Championship. And the prize money is such a big factor of that in terms of keeping a tour card. It's so top heavy at the World Championship. Just one win there gets you £15,000. That boosts you up the ranking 15, 20 places.
Yeah, I think that was on my mind, mate. I really do. I think that to win that game, and I mean this in no disrespect to Chris, but he didn't have a tour card. He's a draw you'd absolutely have loved, you know, and so I think I put the emphasis on the money rather than just go and play my game. And when I was getting to doubles there, I was trying to put them in there, and you can't just put them in. They've got to be thrown in. They just can't just plop them in. You've got to do it. So I think the money was probably a factor for me. You know, the 15,000 was that's what we used to get for the semi-final at Lakeside. Yeah. So you know, for a first round game, and like you say, what would have happened with that? I'd have probably guaranteed my tour card for the 3rd year before we'd even started the 2nd had I won that game. So that's probably where the huge disappointments come. But yeah, it's so top heavy and it's so influential on what goes on. But of course, in 2 years' time, if you do have a good run at Ali Pali in like your first year, like let's say like Suits has and Alan Suter has, you know, he's going to have to defend that in 2 years' time, maybe keep hold of his card. So there are pros and cons to what you're doing.
Yeah, 100% is. We will quickly touch on the WDF World Championship now being played in April, of course, at the Lakeside. There's a fantastic array of players there. The women's field's obviously been expanded to 24. We don't know quite who's going to be playing in the men's field in particular yet, with Q School going on at the moment. But exciting times and good to have amateur darts back at the forefront.
Absolutely. I think it's a shame that it's been put back, but I think it's the right thing to do. I think, you know, as we saw with foreign travel with the Ali Pali, people were not wanting to come over and risk the pandemic. And I think you can totally understand that. I think the crowd at Ali Pali was a more local crowd this year than has ever been before, I would say. You know, when people say, you know, was it a dart playing crowd and was it not? The only way that I popped out to get a pizza in the fan zone, and I'm not the biggest and most well-known player in the world, but I wasn't recognised by hardly anybody. So I popped out, got a pizza, and popped back in, and I think that kind of shows that, you know, if I'd have done that at Lakeside, you'd stuck there for half an hour. So, and I don't begrudge that either because I love that, but that's the type of crowd. So, those types of people probably were not going to risk the pandemic and buy tickets, and there was uncertainty about what Boris was going to do early January, and you know, so I think the WDF took the right decision to cancel it. Obviously, by cancelling it, now we have some of their leading players that were there and they're in the draw because I did the draw for them. with Trina Gulliver. So we did the drawing now, seeing those names at Q School, which would have happened, which gone ahead. These guys would have still gone and tried anyway. So the difference is obviously if they pick up a tour card and pick up a PDC contract, then obviously they're not going to be available to play in April. So that's going to make it interesting. I think the WDF, from what I'm hearing, will go down the rankings to find the players. But with the raw draw already done, where you fit those players in, I don't know. So I'm sure that Nick Rolls and Richard Ashdown at WDF will have ideas of how they're going to do that. But I suppose we've got to see how many of them get the cards first.
Yeah, just a waiting game now for the WDF. Well, I wish you well for 2022, Scott. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and I'm sure we'll see you at a darts event near me sometime soon.
Josh, you're always welcome, mate. I just want to explain. I got my Dorset shirt on today because I had a really good average for Dorset yesterday. So when you've had a stinker at Lally Pally, there's nothing better to come home and put your home shirt on and with your home fans and your home support right behind you, and go and do a stonker. So yeah, I hit 107 yesterday. So very happy with that, and I feel like I'm back already before I even left.
Excellent news to hear, Scott. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Josh. Thank you, mate.